What is going on, guys? Ben here, back with another video. Today we're going to be reviewing and comparing the Steam Deck OLED versus the ROG Ally X. It's been over a year that both of these handhelds have existed, and in this video we're going to talk a little bit about why I prefer the Steam Deck OLED, but I'm going to explain in more detail because, well, the Ally X is more powerful, right? That's not the whole story, guys. It isn't just about what's out here. It's also about what's in here too. But let's not get philosophical just yet. I think for me, the Steam Deck OLED is the clear winner when it comes to handheld gaming PCs. Even today, even with all the competition, even with all of the naysayers like Asus and MSI and and even Nintendo, you're gonna come after my boy Steam? Not okay. But no, the Steam Deck OLED for me is the crown jewel winner, and I'm going to talk about three reasons why: power, display, ergonomics. These are the important parts when it comes to the handheld, and we're going to start with the display. So the display on the Steam Deck OLED is the best. There is no comparing, because every other handheld, pretty much besides the One X Player F1 Pro, which is a better display on all technical terms, but it's also like $1,500. The Steam Deck OLED is just such an incredible display. Gets up to 1,000 nits brightness, is extremely punchy and vibrant, and deep inky blacks. Every time I play a game on this device, I just get locked the hell in. Like, it's all I want to do. It's actually addicting. I've been going to Steam Deck Anonymous recently. It's kind of this, like, alcoholics, and I don't want to get it, actually. No, anyways, the Steam Deck OLED for me is the crown jewel when it comes to display technology. I think it is rocking a Samsung OLED display, and yeah, it's just so bright, so punchy. HDR gets up to 90 frames per second, 90 hertz. Yes, it is only 800p, and I think the biggest downside with the display is that it's 800p. But you get past that when you're playing the game. You're just enjoying the beauty of it, and you're not really pixel peeping, And so now let's talk about the ROG Ally X's display. It's a 1080p 120 hertz display with VRR technology, and it's fine. Honestly, it's even a little bit below average. It's only 500 nits. It's not very saturated, not very punchy. It's a boring LCD display. Yes, it's VRR, which is fun for fast-paced FPS shooters, but really, who wants to play a fast-paced FPS shooter on a handheld? Every single time I've tried, I enjoy it for 10 minutes, and then my hand starts cramping because I'm holding a 1.5-pound device and playing, Call of Duty competitively, or Fortnite or whatever, like, competitively, is not very fun or meant to be had on a handheld. Like, trying to get through all of Cyberpunk on a handheld, you can do it, but playing it on the big screen, for me, the big screen, like a, TV, makes more sense. In terms of displays, I just keep coming back to that Steam Deck OLED because it's in the name, guys. Steam Deck OLED. If it ain't OLED, I ain't buying. Shout out to that previous commenter on my Steam Deck OLED review. It's just facts. Next, I want to talk about power. So the power of the ROG Ally is about 30 to 50% better than the Steam Deck OLED. And you might be like, oh no, oh god, but why can't I have everything I want? No, you can't. You can't have everything you want. If you want a thin, light device that has a beautiful display and is really powerful, you have to spend like $1,500 to get the One X Player F1 Pro. And I think it's really disappointing that the new ROG Ally X with the Xbox, branding on it is the same display. I mean, come on, guys. Let's get it together. No, but honestly, in terms of power, yes, you're getting more frames per second, and Elden Ring does run at a silky smooth 60 frames per second on my ROG Ally running Bazite, but also, like, running it at 45 frames per second on an OLED display feels better to me. The visual fidelity in a game like Elden Ring, the extremely punchy colors of all the different landscapes and everything, it just pops so much better on the Steam Deck OLED as opposed to the ROG Ally, even though it's running at like 15 frames less than the ROG Ally X, and it is running at 800p opposed to like 1600p on, or no, what is it, like 900p on the ROG Ally X. It still doesn't look as good, in my opinion, in terms of, because you can actually natively run HDR on the Steam Deck OLED, and that's something you cannot do on the ROG Ally X. So if you put all those things together, like, yes, the ROG Ally X is really fast and powerful, but the Steam Deck OLED is no slouch at all, and it can play pretty much most of those games. And the best part about the Steam Deck OLED is because you have that beautiful display and you have a good enough amount of power, you're forced and you want to play games that you wouldn't normally play, like 2D side scrollers. Like that new Ninja Gaiden side scroller is so beautiful on the Steam Deck OLED, and it looks donkey on the ROG Ally X because it's a really, you know, unsaturated mess on the ROG Ally X, and you're not going to get any performance games on a game like that. Like 90% of games that are on the Steam store run perfectly fine on the Steam Deck OLED, and they run, and 95% run good on the ROG Ally X. But, you know, for that 5%, you're going to give up a lot of things. There's a freaking bird like screaming over there. So next I want to talk a little bit about ergonomics. So the ergonomics of the Steam Deck OLED far surpass the ergonomics of the ROG Ally X. For me, I have this JSOX case on this ROG Ally X, and yet it's still not very ergonomic. It's very heavy, and adding this case does add some more grip to it. I have bigger hands, I guess, but it's just still like, now it weighs 1.75 pounds, and with the Steam Deck OLED it's under 650 grams. I do not need a case for it. It's much thinner. Look at the thickness difference on that, guys. Come on. So yeah, I mean, in terms of ergonomics, build quality, I prefer the Steam Deck OLED. The weight distribution is better in my opinion. Yeah, I think it's one of the strongest suits about the Steam Deck OLED because it's really something you just want to pick up, and then it just, you know, melds into your hand and you don't want to let go of it. So yeah, it's definitely the Steam Deck OLED in terms of ergonomics for me. But, you know, some people may feel differently, but I just don't think that there's any comparison. And really, on any handheld gaming computer, I think the Steam Deck OLED is the best. So what are my thoughts? I've owned the Steam Decks, I've owned the ROG Ally X, I've owned all the handhelds. I keep coming back to the Steam Deck OLED, guys. It's just such a great device. The integration between software and hardware, and, you know, how it was built, the display quality, the battery life, the battery life is about the same for the both of them when they're both running, you know, Steam OS. But, you know, for me personally, I just find that the Steam Deck OLED just is the best for me, because if I want really powerful graphics, I'll play on my PS5 Pro. You know, I don't need to have everything be played on one device. I can play really high-end games on my PlayStation 5 Pro, and then if I want to play more handheld 2D side scroller, Celeste, all, you know, the great Steam games, I'm gonna play them on my Steam Deck OLED. It only makes sense, right? But yeah, that's my perspective. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be coming out with much more videos more frequently for you guys. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so that'd be sweet. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the video. Peace.